You know, today it's easy to look at Hollywood and look at Robert Downey Jr. and point the finger saying, oh yeah, you have Robert Downey Jr. in your movie, of course you're gonna make $1 billion. That's easy. When Marvel Studios took that gamble and cast Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, it was a different world for Marvel and Downey. Let's talk about ultimately why this was a good choice and why Marvel Studios owes everything to Iron Man. So Iron Man was an interesting announcement when Marvel Studios first announced that they were going to in fact be self-funding their own films and making an independent studio that was going to kick off with Iron Man. You know, it was a character that not a lot of people knew. Hardcore comic book nerds liked Iron Man, but he was one of these characters that was never topping the charts. You had your Supermans, your Batmans, your Fantastic Four, your X-Men. Iron Man was nowhere to be seen. Hell, the Avengers couldn't even really sustain comic book sales at that point. So Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige recently talked about the idea of Robert Downey Jr., which you guys can find that article down below. But what he said was ultimately, as Marvel Studios head, it was his first big decision to cast Robert Downey Jr. And this was something that was either going to pay off or really break the studio. And as he says, it was either MCU works and Robert Downey Jr. works, or there's no MCU. And if you really think about that, that is correct. You know, Iron Man 1 came out and a lot of people were saying it was going to do about $250 to $300 million in its entire run. Now, it didn't go that way. Obviously, it doubled that and it was a huge success. And now we're where we are today, where Iron Man is a household name. Now, he also talks about the fact that at one point they were approaching this with the idea that Iron Man, yes, he's a famous character for comic book nerds. We want to make Iron Man a star like Batman. But the other side of that is Tony Stark should also be as famous as Iron Man, if not more famous, because we want it to be a big deal. Now, Robert Downey Jr. was a gamble at the time. Now, some of you might not know this. Maybe you're too young. Maybe you just don't know the history. But Robert Downey Jr. was in jail. He found himself in a very bad place with substance abuse and various other things that are out there. When he got out of jail, nobody wanted to hire him. Marvel Studios' gamble was offer it to this guy who's pretty much embodying Tony Stark at this point and see what happens. Now, imagine a scenario where maybe Iron Man 1 comes out, Robert Downey gets his payday, couple weeks later he relapses and something terrible happens, he's on the news and he's jailed again. Your franchise would be dead. Iron Man would have been over. That's it. They would have maybe had to recast him, and who knows how that would have turned out for the future of the MCU after he did so good in the first film. So as he says, it was the ultimate gamble, but it ended up paying off. And when you really think about it that way, sometimes that's really what you have to do. They gave him a chance, he proved he could do it, and now, well, we're where we're at now. Robert Downey Jr. is one of the most highest paid in-demand actors in Hollywood, and Marvel Studios is the biggest thing in entertainment history, so a job well done over the course of 15 years, more or less.